One of the simplest and most powerful ways to experience a thinking environment in action is through thinking pairs. Thinking pairs capture the essence of time to think in its purest form. Two people taking turns to think aloud while the other gives them full, uninterrupted attention. There's no advice, no feedback, and no interruption, just the quiet power of being fully listened to. In a world where we're used to competing to speak, thinking pairs turn that dynamic upside down. They create a safe space where the thinker's mind can do what it does best: think for itself. The process is simple, but the impact is profound. People find clarity faster, solutions emerge more naturally, and relationships deepen through genuine respect. In the next section, we'll explore how thinking pairs work, why they're so effective, and how you can use them to transform everyday conversations into moments of genuine insight. The thinking pair is the simplest and most powerful structure in the thinking environment. It involves just two people, and the purpose is to give each of them uninterrupted space to think out loud while being fully listened to. Here's how it works. One person becomes the thinker and the other the listener. They agree on a topic or a question, something like, "What do I want to achieve this quarter?" or "What's getting in the way of progress on this project?" The thinker then speaks for a set time, perhaps 5 minutes. During that time, the listener gives undivided attention. No interruptions, no nodding, no ahas, just calm, steady attention, the kind that silently says, "I'm here and your thinking matters." When the time is up, they switch roles. The listener becomes the thinker, and the thinker now listens. Both people receive equal time. That equality is key. It removes hierarchy and creates fairness. After both have finished, they can briefly share any insights that emerged. It's not a discussion or a critique, it's a moment to acknowledge what surfaced in their thinking. The impact of this practice is extraordinary. People often discover that they think twice as clearly in half the time simply because they weren't interrupted. Teams that use thinking pairs regularly report deeper trust, fewer misunderstandings, and faster progress because everyone has truly been heard. The beauty of a thinking pair is in its simplicity: two people, time, attention, and respect. It's the foundation on which every other thinking environment practice is built. Let's now look at how to run a thinking pair in practice. This is a simple process, but the discipline is what makes it powerful. Step 1, begin by agreeing the purpose. Each pair decides what they'd like to think about. It could be a work issue, a leadership challenge, or simply the question, "What do I need to think about today?" Clarity of purpose helps focus attention. Step 2, set equal time limits, usually 3 to 5 minutes each. Use a timer so that both people know when to switch without having to watch the clock. Step 3, start the first round. The first thinker speaks. The listener gives total, uninterrupted attention. No nods, no mm-hms, no prompts. Their stillness is their respect. If the thinker pauses, that's fine. Silence is part of thinking. Step 4, when the time signal sounds, they switch. The listener becomes the thinker, and the process repeats for the same length of time. Equal time matters. It's what makes this a ritual of equality. Step 5, after both have finished, invite a brief optional reflection. Each person may share one thing they noticed about their own thinking, not a comment about the other person. Step 6, close by thanking each other for their attention. That acknowledgement completes the exchange respectfully and reinforces appreciation. When you run thinking pairs in teams, hold the tone of calm focus. You'll notice the energy in the room drop from busy to still. The moment people experience this level of attention, something shifts. They often describe it as feeling seen, respected, and mentally clear. And from that clarity, better ideas and better relationships naturally emerge. Thinking pairs are not just an exercise. They're a practical leadership tool that can transform how your team communicates. The more you use them, the more they start to reshape the culture of your organization. Before meetings, use short pairs to help people think for themselves before the group begins. This creates calm, clarity, and equality. When everyone has already had a chance to think aloud, the meeting starts with sharper ideas and less posturing. During problem solving, use pairs to break up long discussions. Instead of everyone debating in a large group, give 2 or 3 minutes for paired thinking. People return with more insight and less dominance because they've already felt heard. When to use thinking pairs. After conflict or tension, thinking pairs can help people process their feelings and find perspective privately before rejoining the group. This helps restore psychological safety and emotional balance. For reflection or learning, pairs are ideal at the end of workshops or projects. Each person can think aloud about what they learned or what they'll do differently, while being deeply listened to. For decision-making, when a group feels stuck or conversations keep circling, thinking pairs allow individuals to think independently for a few minutes before sharing. It often breaks the loop and surfaces insights that hadn't been voiced. Finally, as a cultural habit, regular use of thinking pairs normalizes attention, equality, and ease. People begin to expect to be listened to. The quality of dialogue across the organization rises, and meetings become less about performing and more about genuine thinking. Over time, this simple structure becomes a quiet revolution in how people relate. Thinking pairs create not just better ideas, they create better listeners. Thinking pairs may appear simple, but their impact on both individuals and culture is profound. The first and most immediate effect is sharper thinking. When someone knows they won't be interrupted, their mind relaxes. They begin to access deeper reasoning and insight, often surprising themselves with what emerges. Second, you see a rapid growth in trust and respect. When colleagues experience genuine, uninterrupted attention, it communicates something rare in most workplaces, that their mind is valued. This builds psychological safety faster than any policy or initiative. Third, the quality of meetings improves dramatically. When participants have already had a chance to think aloud in pairs, their contributions in the wider group are clearer, more concise, and more considered. Meetings run faster, but with far more substance. You'll also notice a rise in creativity and innovation. When people are not defending themselves from interruption, their thinking becomes freer. Ideas flow without the internal editing that so often happens in hierarchical settings. Thinking pairs also create more balanced participation. By design, everyone has equal airtime. Quieter voices contribute confidently. Dominant ones learn to listen. And finally, over time, thinking pairs create a cultural shift toward presence. People start bringing the same quality of attention into everyday conversations. The environment becomes calmer, more appreciative, and more collaborative. In essence, thinking pairs do more than improve thinking. They reteach us how to relate. They remind us that great ideas are not born from pressure or noise, but from attention, respect, and stillness.